Welcome to the Crystal Self-Healer Podcast. I'm Carissa Weaver. On this podcast, we blend the magic of crystals with the science of psychology to help you break free from chaos, ditch the overwhelm, and master your emotions so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day. Get ready to unlock your intuition and restore your true power as we cover how you can transform your life using crystals and self-awareness. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's go. When I do my weekly crystal and tarot forecast inside the Charmed community, quite often I find myself talking about masculine versus feminine energy, the flow versus force of our experience, the light versus the dark, the yin versus the yang. These dualities aren't just metaphysical. They show up in our daily lives, shaping how we interact with the world and ourselves. In a society that has long rewarded forceful masculine energy, showing up in a softer, more feminine energy can feel unnatural and even unsupported. For women, when we sit in a masculine energy for too long, it can have a negative impact on our overall emotional, physical, and metaphysical well-being. If you've been waking up tired, feeling drained, and struggling to find clarity or balance, this episode is for you. We'll explore how masculine and feminine energies affect your well-being, uncover ways to restore balance, and discover how you can find your flow with crystals. I think everyone wants to live in a space of flow where things unfold naturally and easily, and they always work out for the best. Flow is that effortless state where everything aligns, our actions feel natural, our energy is balanced, and we're deeply connected to ourselves and the world around us. Flow is a state of being where ease and alignment guide your actions rather than force or resistance. But reality isn't always like that, and our conditioning has led us to be in this place of do, get more done, and force it to be. In school, we're told to put our heads down, get good grades so we can land that job. We land that job and we're told to put our heads down, work hard so we can get that promotion. There's a constant expenditure of energy with a force of its own behind it. This is inspired by the drive and action of masculine energy. As adults, think about how often you're praised for pushing through exhaustion to meet a deadline, or how hustle culture celebrates being busy over being balanced. We're taught that if we're not actively achieving something tangible, we're wasting time. Masculine energy is much like the phrase, fake it until you make it. It suggests ignoring how we feel, suppressing our emotions, and overriding our instincts, all to project an image of success that might not align with our truth. For sensitive and empath women, it demands we pretend to be someone we're not, pushing away authenticity and relying on sheer willpower to succeed. But what happens when we're too exhausted to keep faking it? As a result, we come to see intuition, rest, or creativity as indulgent or even lazy. How many of us feel guilty when we take a moment for ourselves, fearing we'll be judged or seen as less than capable? And this has led us to not trust in the fluid ways of feminine energy. The feminine asks us to pause and feel, but when we've been conditioned to push through, even pausing feels like a failure. In the name of productivity, or in order to get things done, many women unknowingly get stuck in unbalanced energy, which keeps them out of flow. This pattern is often fueled by the belief that rest equals laziness, or that your worth is tied to how much you accomplish. How often do you hear messages like, "You can rest once the work is done," even when the work never ends. You might notice it when you say yes to every request, even when you're too tired to follow through, or when you double and triple check your work to make sure it's perfect, fearing judgment or failure. It could show up as procrastination, where you avoid starting tasks because they feel so overwhelming, or as perfectionism, where no amount of effort feels good enough. This imbalance often leaves women feeling disconnected from their intuition and overwhelmed by the constant demands of life. They might feel mentally foggy, unable to make clear decisions, or physically fatigued despite a good night's sleep. Emotionally, this state can lead to frustration, guilt, or even resentment, especially when they feel like their efforts never quite measure up to what's expected of them. So much time is spent on the struggle bus, where you're making things harder than they need to be, fighting everything the entire time, ultimately not allowing things to unfold naturally. One moment you're stuck in overdrive, pushing yourself to meet deadlines, and the next you're paralyzed by indecision, feeling too exhausted to move. When you're out of flow, every task feels monumental, every decision feels fraught, and every day feels like a battle. When you're out of flow, you're unable to create and find balance so that you can easily navigate through life with ease and the ability to overcome challenges and setbacks that might arise. With each and every ritual you carry out, you have an opportunity to affect the masculine and feminine energy within and around you. So much of what we experience in life is shaped by energy, whether it flows naturally or feels forced. And for many of us, force has been the default, and often something we're not even aware we're doing. This is what we've been conditioned to believe is necessary to succeed, to matter, to be enough. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling out of alignment or stuck in a forceful energy. You're living in a system that wasn't designed to support you. The world we live in emphasizes masculine energy, action, productivity, doing. It's structured around constant effort and reward. That's not inherently bad, but it's incomplete. It leaves little space for the feminine energy to flow, intuition, and being. Our work is not to reject one energy or the other, but to recognize where we've been conditioned to overvalue one and dismiss the other. It's about uncovering all the ways you've been taught to see yourself and your worth through a lens that values doing over being, action over rest, force over flow. That's why I teach my clients the 3-step framework to guide them in shifting into a more healthy and balanced experience. If you go to the show notes, you can use the link to download the Charmed Morning Ritual worksheet that will guide you in using the 3-step framework. We start with grounded awareness, asking questions of ourselves to understand where we are unintentionally going off course, to identify the limiting beliefs, or to find the values and beliefs that are creating the resistance. Start by asking, what do I need right now? Not what you think you should need. Not what others expect you to need. What do you actually need? Or, what do I want to do or accomplish? Does the action I'm taking align with my deeper desires? Or am I trying to meet an invisible standard? Are you showing up as the person you think you need to be to gain approval? Or are you showing up as the person you truly want to be? The power behind these questions is that you then get to decide how and where you want to intentionally focus your energy. This is the second step in the framework, intention. You don't need to overhaul your life in one day. Start with small intentional acts that help you shift your energy. If you've been stuck in masculine energy, you might focus on inviting softness into your day. And if you've been swimming in feminine energy but struggling to take action, you might lean into finding more focus. The third step in the framework is aligned action. And as we do this work through rituals, reflection, and practices like crystal self-healing, we begin to shift. The intentional acts you choose for yourself, you implement. You observe how they work or don't work for you, and then you keep adjusting until you've created the balance, the flow of your masculine and feminine energy. We learn to trust in the power of the balance where masculine and feminine energies work together rather than against each other. This is where your divine perfection comes in. It's not about fixing yourself. It's about remembering that at your core, you are already whole. You already have the wisdom and strength to create balance and flow in your life. Every step you take to recognize and shift these energies is a step back to your true self. It's a reclamation of your power, your flow, and your connection to what matters most. I'm going to offer Chrysocolla as the crystal to support you in your work of finding balance and flow with your masculine and feminine energy. Chrysocolla will help to calm the constant hum of our go, go, go approach that comes from a forceful, masculine-driven mindset. You'll be reminded to pause and anchor back into the intentional way of being you desire to embody. Chrysocolla will help you release emotions that you may have been suppressing in an attempt to stay productive or in order to avoid confrontation. This will create the space you need to breathe and for flow to re-enter your life. When you're stuck in force, it can be hard to hear your inner voice, and feminine energy thrives on intuition. Chrysocolla connects the throat and heart chakras, strengthening your ability to listen to your intuition and speak your truth, guiding you toward the best outcomes. Chrysocolla will also help you take action in a way that feels authentic rather than forced. It supports you in showing up as your whole self, aligned with who you want to be instead of how you think you should be, which will bring your masculine and feminine energy into greater balance. Now you can join me inside the Charmed community where you'll get access to the weekly crystal and tarot forecast, and you can visit the show notes and download the Charmed morning ritual worksheet so you can get started creating more balance and flow in your life. And if you want a personalized approach that includes one-to-one support, join me inside the Crystal Self-Healer members portal where we focus on supporting your growth with tools and practices that work on multiple levels. For example, each month we gather for a collective crystal healing session that allows you to energetically reset the patterns that are keeping you and your nervous system in overdrive, as well as providing time and space for relaxation. There are group rituals that are designed to create predictability and connection. You're not just engaging in practice, but training your body to trust again, to feel grounded in routines that nurture you instead of leave you feeling drained. These rituals offer an anchor for your nervous system, something that you can carry with you long after the ritual ends. And with the workbooks and worksheets available inside the members portal, you have an opportunity to uncover internal stories keeping you unbalanced, as well as getting support in creating new ones that instill balance and flow. I invite you to join me inside the Crystal Self-Healer members portal to get immediate access to all of the tools, resources, and support that you need to be calm, centered, and whole. You can join today using the link in the show notes or go to my website to learn more. Today's episode has been brought to you by Chrysocolla and Reprogramming Your Energy. May we all release the need to force, embrace the flow and ease, and discover the balance that brings us back to ourselves. Blessed be, my friends. All right, my friends, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here today on the Crystal Self Healer podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, and take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz linked in the show notes. Join me again next week as we continue to demystify crystals, how your brain works, and how you can use them so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day.